Hi everyone, you are welcome to this very program. Today we are going to look on how foreign media houses reported the judgment of Nigerian Supreme Court of 15th December 2023 in a case between Federal Government of Nigeria and Mazi Nnamdi Kanu of IPOB. Last 2 weeks, Nigeria was agog with foreign journalists trying to get flip of Nnamdi Kanu's case, the Biafran agitator and the leader of IPOB, who has been in detention since June 2021. Unfortunately, DSS operatives blocked the road leading to the court and village gate, turning back litigants and the sympathizers of the self-acclaimed IPOB leader, as it is written. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has been a widely known human rights activist and the leader of indigenous people of Biafra, seeking separation from Nigeria. Many foreign journalists have learned much about the history of Biafra and the atrocities committed against southeastern people, mainly the Igbos in Nigeria from 1966 to date. Foreign countries all are aware of the conflict and the suffering of people of southeast of Nigeria since the amalgamation of northern and the southern Nigerian protectorate since its formation in 1914. It is the only British protectorate that has not gained independence since 1914. According to one historian, I quote, "Southern Protectorate of Nigeria is the only British protectorate that has declared interest to be a country but has been blocked because of its mineral resources," unquote. It has replaced apartheid South Africa with white minority rule. Today, black dominating fellow black men with the help of foreign benefactors like Britain, America, France, Germany, and China. Today, the world wants to see and know the fate of IPOB leader who volunteered to act like Mandela of South Africa, Robert Mugabe of Southern Rhodesia, George Washington, the Continental Revolutionary Army leader that forced evacuation of Britain from America and then declared independence of America, leading to the Treaty of France or Treaty of Paris in 1783. The revival of Biafran agitation is as a result of tribal feud by North and allies applying Second World War tactics used against Germany and Austria by America, Britain, France, Italy, and Russia after the Second World War. Although the agitation was initiated by Mr. Ralph Waldegrike, however, Mr. Kanu rebranded it to his prominence. He became that enemy of the nation, Nigeria. Government of former President Buhari refused to enter dialogue to ameliorate any pending issues, leading to the agitation as advised by some prominent Nigerians. There is evidence of tribal sentiment exhibited by the then President Buhari against Igbos, always recounting on the Civil War, which he participated between 1967 to 1970. At a point, the former president stated, even if Biafra was allowed to go, there would be a dot nation, a nation landlocked. Research shows that Nnamdi Kanu's IPOB case with the former President Buhari was based or is based on ethnic tribalism and ill-feeling of the president against the IPOB, which stopped Islamic religious expansion in the name of politics, acquisition of land and the domination using federal might. This was the argument of the leader of indigenous people of Biafra. Research shows that Nnamdi Kanu's IPOB with the former president of Nigeria, Muhammadu Buhari, is based on ethnic tribalism and ill-feeling of the president against the IPOB, which he believed is stopping the Islamic expansion in the name of politics in Southeast and acquisition of free land and the domination using federal might. Observers also reported that the desire to stop the expansion and other marginalization and the economic destruction of Southeast by President Buhari activated the struggle of IPOB using instrumental process made available by the United Nations, African Union, ECOWAS, and Nigerian constitutional framework on self-determination of a new nation to pursue his cause. President Buhari, as a military man who fought Nigerian civil war, resorted to use of force, employing services of military, Air Force, Navy, Secret Police, DSS, and the Nigerian Police Force to suppress the agitation. During Buhari's reign, kidnappings were allowed both locally by Buhari's Fulani kinsmen, killing of indigenous people in churches, homes, farms, burning of churches, private homes, stoning of Christians, and all these were overlooked by the government of Buhari, unperturbed with reckless abandon. It was disclosed that under Buhari's regime, southern governors and organizations were intimidated for speaking out against the atrocities of Fulani ethnic groups. Like a resistance force, IPOB became a challenging force and the later Southwest group that arose, thus making it difficult for total invasion of Southeast and Southwest by Buhari kinsmen and the Nigerian forces. This onerous act infuriated the government, which initiated death squad plot against the agitators, especially Mr. Nnamdi Kanu of IPOB. Subsequently, the leader of IPOB, who escaped planned death squad from the invasion of his house, escaped in 2017 as many people were massacred in his home. As the plot widens, later Nnamdi Kanu was eventually captured in June 2021 in Kenya, tortured and renditioned back to Nigeria by a team of plotters within his people, Southeast governors, as alleged, federal government of Nigeria, Kenyan government under Uhuru Kenyatta, and other interested groups. This attracted international outcry as both local and international laws and the UN treaties were broken by Nigerian government. However, Mr. Kanu was brought before Nigerian judicial system with various criminal charges and counts before a federal high court under the judge, Bita Nyako, who is also a Fulani woman. Minister of Justice and the President Buhari presented 15-count charges against Mr. Kanu. Indeed, Kanu's legal team were alert to defend such charges and counts. 8 of the charges were brought to the mud, while the remaining 7 were appealed against by Kanu's legal team at Federal High Court of Appeal, Abuja. Eventually, he was discharged. In a simple language, the Court of Appeal in Abuja on Thursday quashed the terrorism charges the government brought or preferred against the detained leader of indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, Nnamdi Kanu, on October 16, 2022. This was reported all over the world. However, some local observers saw this as a case between the Fulani and the Southeast of Nigeria. It has lacked neutrality and bedeviled by executive and the tribal interferences and the Meeti Allah, the Fulani Socio-Cultural Organization. After the discharge by Federal Court of Appeal, Mr. Malami, the then Attorney General of the Federation, appealed against the discharge at the Supreme Court of Nigeria. The case was allocated to justices of Nigerian Supreme Court, and amongst them is Justice Mohammed Lawal Gaba. Mohammed Gaba was appointed Justice of the Supreme Court by the former President Muhammadu Buhari. Previous cases handled by Justice Mohammed Lawal Gaba included the 2019 presidential election petition tribunal that ruled in favor of President Muhammadu Buhari against Atiku Abubakar, former Vice President of Nigeria. On the 14th January 2023, Justice Gaba of the Supreme Court sacked Obong of Calabar and others fresh election. On the 25th October 2023, Gaba was among the 7 justices that determined the case of Atiku, Tinubu, and Obi's fate in the presidential election petition. With this background, we look at how the foreign newspapers reported the Supreme Court judgment in a case of appeal made by federal government of Nigeria seeking the Supreme Court to quash the discharge and acquitted ruling of the Court of Appeal. First, we will look on how Reuters reported the case. Reuters is a foreign newspaper with headquarters in Canada. It was formerly in London. Reuters reported that Nigerian Supreme Court blocks release of separatist leader Kanu on December 15, 2023. Then we find out how another newspaper, foreign newspaper, reported the case. We go to the AP. AP represents Associated Press. This is based in America. It's an American newspaper. Says Nigeria's Supreme Court reinstates terrorism charges against the separatist leader Nnamdi Kanu. That means Nigeria's Supreme Court has overturned a lower court ruling dismissing terrorism charges against a popular separatist leader whose trial has earlier been discharged. We look at another foreign news on this very ruling. This time is called Courthouse News Services. This is also a United States newspaper company. It states in its own report, Nigeria's Supreme Court reinstates terrorism charges. Google was not left out. Google News says, Nnamdi Kanu, Supreme Court dismisses appeal court's decision, refuses to free the leader of indigenous people of Biafra. Another foreign news media is African Center for Strategic Studies. The center reported the case, says Nigerian Supreme Court blocks release of separatist leader Kanu exclusive. Not only was this left within Africa and America, it goes also to Europe. We look at Irish News. Irish News stated, Nigeria's Supreme Court reinstates terrorism charges. The court said Nnamdi Kanu, leader of indigenous people of Biafra, separatist group that seeks independence for Nigeria's southeastern region. This did not limit on Irish News alone. Another news media organization in Ireland called breakingnews.ie stated, Nigeria's Supreme Court on Friday overturned a lower court ruling dismissing terrorism charges against a popular separatist leader. Then BBC's reports in Africa Live this week. BBC stated that Nigerian court orders Nnamdi Kanu to stay in jail. Leader of indigenous people of Biafra, Nnamdi Kanu, attends. Then we have africanews.com. It reported the 15th December 2023, the West African nation's Supreme Court ruled Friday that the separatist leader should be kept in prison, overturning a 2023 judgment by a lower court. This did not limit there. Then the Yahoo News Canada reported, Nigerian Supreme Court blocks release of separatist leader. All these news are evidence that there is a concern about what happens in Nigeria. Various countries, both the West and the African countries, including Asian countries in Japan, whose news I did not include here, reported the same and showing that the world are monitoring what is going on in Nigeria. Nigerian government may believe, or those judges may believe, that their rulings are only limited to Nigeria, but that does not apply. The world wants to know what happened or what is happening in southeastern region in Biafra land, because the history of the nation has long been on the news, and many Western countries are also interested to see this case drop. With this, we come to the end of this very program, where we come back to you with another exciting analysis of what happens in Nigeria. With this, we come to the end of this very program. We ask you to subscribe, share, and leave your comment. Thank you for watching. God bless you all. Bye.